The heavy silence of deep space was broken only by the low hum of the colony's ship and Dara's life support systems. Within the vessel's cryogenic base, hundreds of humans lay in suspended animation, their bodies frozen in time, hearts slowed to a near halt. For over a century, they had been drifting away from the cradle of Earth, venturing into the uncharted darkness of the galaxy, searching for a new home. Captain Mira Ellis opened her eyes slowly, the icy fog of cryosleep fading as the ship's systems signaled the approach to their destination, Elysium Prime. Outside the thick, reinforced windows, the soft glow of a distant sun bathed the planet's surface in pale gold. It was a beautiful sight, a fragile blue-green jewel in a sea of black. This was the culmination of humanity's greatest hope, a chance to start anew far from the dying Earth. "Report," Mira said, her voice cracking slightly as her muscles stiffened from decades of rest. Lieutenant Jax Turner, the ship's second-in-command, was already awake and checking instruments nearby. Atmosphere breathable, surface temperature stable, no signs of large-scale geological activity. "We're good to begin descent." Mira sat up, steadying herself against the cryotube's side. "Prepare the landing sequence. Let's wake the others." The deep mechanical hiss of the ship's systems filled the chamber as technicians began rousing the colonists one by one. Sleep pods opened like blooming flowers, releasing groans and coughs as humans struggled to adjust to the waking world. Many faces were blurred by the passage of time, but the same determination shone in their eyes. Hours later, the Andera touched down gently on Elysium's surface. Outside the airlock, a team of engineers in rugged exploration suits took their first cautious steps on soil that had never known human footprints. Mira was among the first to step down. The ground beneath her boots was surprisingly soft, carpeted with strange alien grasses that swayed gently in the breeze. Towering, bioluminescent trees cast an eerie glow in the fading twilight. It was breathtaking and alien. "Scan the area for life signs," Mira ordered. "Already on it," said Jax, checking his handheld scanner. "No large animals or sentient species detected so far. This planet looks empty." But as the scans continued, an unexpected blip appeared on their sensors, a faint energy reading emanating from beneath the planet's surface. The equipment's readings flickered with irregular pulses, patterns that hinted at artificial origin. Mira frowned. "Could be geothermal activity or something else," Jax said. "Whatever it is, it's not natural." The colony's chief scientist, Dr. Lino Ortiz, joined them. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity and concern. "That energy signature, it's unlike anything we've seen before. It's resonating, almost like it's alive." Before they could investigate further, the ship's communications console crackled to life. "This is Earth Command," a voice echoed, formal but tense. "Colony Andera, do you copy? The situation has changed. The Veil fleet has been sighted in the Perseus sector. They're advancing fast, and their path is heading directly toward your location." The room went silent. The Veil, an alien coalition feared throughout the galaxy, were known for their merciless conquests. They had erased countless civilizations, assimilated worlds into their dark empire, and crushed all resistance. Myra's jaw tightened. "They're here. Do we have any backup?" Jax asked, voice low. "None. Earth Command's fleet is engaged elsewhere." The message continued. "We're deploying emergency defenses, but they'll need time to reach you. You must hold your position at all costs." Mira stood taller, the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. "Then we won't just hold, we'll fight." Her words sparked a ripple of hope through the gathered colonists. The dreams of starting over were quickly becoming a fight for survival. Suddenly, the communications console flickered again, this time with a chilling message. A deep, distorted voice spoke, speaking in a language that shimmered with menace but carried a clear meaning in the universal translator. "You are the last candle in the dark. Extinguish yourselves, or be consumed." The room froze. The Veil had sent a warning and a declaration of intent. Myra's eyes burned with fierce determination. "They don't know what they're dealing with." She turned to her officers. "Prepare all defenses. Activate protocols for rapid mobilization. Every person here must be ready, not just to survive, but to show the galaxy why humanity is different." Outside, The first Veil scouts slipped silently through the shadowed atmosphere, their sleek ships cutting through the alien sky like deadly predators. But on Elysium Prime, humanity was waking, and this time, they would not go quietly. The chapter closes with a panoramic shot of the Andera colony bustling with activity beneath the eerie glow of alien skies, while the looming Veil fleet darkens the horizon. A silent but deadly promise that the coming days would test the limits of human resilience. The first light of Elysium Prime filtered through the thick canopy of alien trees, casting long, shifting shadows over the sprawling colony. The settlers moved with purpose, their hands busy erecting the first fragile outposts and defenses around the landing site. The air was filled with the sounds of construction, low murmurs of strategy meetings, and the occasional distant call of unfamiliar wildlife. But beneath the surface of daily activity, a current of tension ran deep. No one could ignore the threat looming beyond the planet's atmosphere. Captain Mira Ellis stood on a ridge overlooking the fledgling colony. Her gaze stretched across the soft hills, the green forests, and the river that wound through the landscape like a silver thread. The beauty of the world was undeniable, but it was not enough to blind her to the danger. The Veil fleet will be here within days, maybe hours, she said quietly to Jax, who stood beside her, checking the latest sensor reports on a handheld device. We're 100 miles from the nearest known outpost, and we're alone. Jax's face was grim, and we're outgunned. The Veil's technology is centuries ahead of ours. Their ships are faster, their weapons deadlier. Our colonies don't stand a chance in a straight fight. Mira nodded slowly, which means we have to be smarter, faster, stronger in ways they won't expect. Inside the Central Research Lab, Dr. Lena Ortiz and her team were already working feverishly. The artifact discovered beneath the surface of Elysium was unlike anything humanity had encountered, a relic of a vanished civilization whose ruins lay buried under layers of rock and soil. It pulsed with a soft, blue light, faint but unmistakably alive. Lena studied the readings projected on her holoscreen. This energy signature, it's a form of bioelectric resonance. Almost like the planet itself is communicating through it. But there's more. One of her assistants pointed at the data. Look here, it's responding to human DNA sequences. The artifact's energy amplifies when in proximity to certain genetic markers. Lena's eyes widened. If this is true, the artifact could unlock latent human abilities. Abilities we never knew we had. Mira entered the lab, the weight of leadership heavy on her shoulders. Latent abilities, she asked. Think of it as a catalyst, Lena explained. We've speculated for years that humans carry dormant genetic traits, remnants of our ancient past. This relic might be the key to activating them. It's as if the artifact was waiting for someone like us. The idea was both thrilling and terrifying. If the artifact could enhance human potential, it might be the advantage humanity needed. But it was also unknown, its effects untested and unpredictable. We'll need volunteers, Mira said decisively. But first, we prepare. Every person here must be trained in combat and survival tactics. We can't rely on technology alone. Back in the training grounds, the colonists responded with surprising eagerness. Men and women from every background, engineers, scientists, teachers, took up arms and learned to fight. Simulators buzzed with drills. Strategy sessions extended late into the night. Among them was a young recruit named Alex Duran, a former soldier with a sharp mind and quick reflexes. He watched the training with interest, but remained skeptical. You really think this artifact can turn us into warriors? We're not some superhumans. Mira overheard and stepped forward. We're more than what we believe ourselves to be, Alex. We've survived wars, disasters, and extinction. Humanity's strength isn't just in our bodies or technology, it's in our spirit, our will to fight when the odds are against us. As the days passed, strange phenomena began to surface. Some colonists reported heightened senses, sharper vision, faster reflexes, bursts of energy that seemed to come from nowhere. Others spoke of vivid dreams, memories of places they had never seen but felt connected to. Lena's team monitored these changes carefully. It's the artifact, she confirmed. It's influencing their biology at a cellular level. But the mystery deepened. A scout drone sent to survey the surrounding forest returned damaged, with images showing strange, organic structures deep underground, structures that appeared to be artificial tunnels or cities. The presence of such relics suggested the ancient civilization that created the artifact had once thrived here, only to be wiped out by an unknown force. Meanwhile, tensions within the colony began to rise. Supplies were limited, nerves frayed, and every shadow seemed to hide a threat. Mira found herself constantly balancing the roles of commander, counselor, and strategist. One evening, as she walked through the camp, she found Alex staring up at the alien stars. "You think we can win?" he asked quietly. "We don't have a choice," Mira replied. "But winning won't be about brute force. It'll be about how well we adapt, how well we remember who we are, and who we can become." Suddenly, the colony's alarm system blared, an incoming message from a Veil Scout ship orbiting high above. The broadcast was chilling, a looping message from the Veil Overlord, their voice distorted and harsh. "You are an annoyance. Your primitive weapons and futile defiance will end soon. Surrender, and we may grant you mercy." The colonists stared in silence, the cold message stirring something fierce inside them. Lena turned to Mira. "We've studied the artifact's energy signature. It seems linked to ancient defense mechanisms, protections built into the planet itself." Mira's eyes hardened. "Then we'll awaken those defenses. We'll turn this world into a fortress." As the Veil's shadow crept closer, humanity's forgotten strengths, their will, their adaptability, and now something more, began to stir. And the battle for Elysium Prime was only just beginning. The days following the Veil's warning message passed in a whirlwind of preparation and unease. The colony was no longer just a fledgling outpost. It had transformed into a fortress bristling with hope and tension. Captain Mira Ellis moved with purposeful urgency, her mind a maelstrom of plans, contingencies, and the faint glimmer of something far greater than any tactical advantage. Deep beneath the surface of Elysium Prime, the artifact continued to pulse its enigmatic light. Dr. Lena Ortiz and her team had managed to carefully extract it from its resting place and bring it to the lab for closer study. Despite their careful handling, the artifact seemed to resist being confined. It radiated energy that made the air hum softly, and occasionally, it emitted bursts of light that flickered like ancient signals. One evening, as the colony's scientists gathered around the artifact, Lena began to share her latest insights. "This relic," she said, eyes reflecting the pulsing blue light, "is more than just a piece of advanced technology. It's a key, literally and figuratively, to the legacy of the civilization that once inhabited this world." The room was silent, save for the low hum of the machinery. "From the ruins we detected underground, it's clear this society was highly advanced, far beyond anything we've encountered," Lena continued. "But something catastrophic happened. Their cities lie in silence beneath layers of rock and time. We're looking at an extinction event." Mira, standing at the edge of the room, frowned. "What caused it?" "That's what we're trying to figure out," Lena admitted. "But the artifact itself might hold answers. It's almost like a living archive, encoding memories and knowledge in ways we don't fully understand." Jack stepped forward, voice sharp. "Can we use it to defend ourselves? The Veil are coming, and we're vastly outmatched." Lena nodded slowly. "That's the hope. We've observed that the artifact reacts to human DNA, enhancing certain traits. But it's not random. It seems to awaken qualities that lie dormant, latent potentials buried in our genetic code, abilities we never knew we had." Myra's mind raced. If humanity could unlock these hidden strengths, they might stand a chance, not just to survive, but to fight back. That night, the colony was restless. Groups gathered around campfires, whispering about the alien world beneath their feet and the mysterious powers awakening inside them. The old skepticism was being replaced by a fragile hope. Even hardened soldiers like Alex Duran admitted to feeling something stirring, a strange energy, a connection to something bigger. In her quarters, Mira studied the latest scans from the surface and underground. The ancient city sprawled beneath the planet's crust, networks of tunnels and chambers carved with precision. The architecture was unlike anything built by humans, organic yet mechanical, alive with faint pulses of light. Her thoughts were interrupted by a soft chime. It was Lena, requesting an urgent meeting. When Mira arrived at the lab, she found Lena and her team gathered around a newly decoded transmission from the artifact, a sequence of symbols and light patterns that resembled a language. We believe this is a message left behind by the planet's original inhabitants, Lena explained. It's a warning and a guide. The message spoke of a force called the Shadowborn, a catastrophic threat that had driven their civilization to extinction. The Shadowborn were a relentless entity, consuming worlds and extinguishing life. The artifact was created as a safeguard, designed to awaken the Lightborn, beings capable of wielding the planet's hidden powers to fight back. Myra's pulse quickened. The implication was clear. Humanity could be the Lightborn. The following days were a frenzy of discovery and training. Volunteers exposed themselves to the artifact's energy, undergoing rigorous physical and mental tests. The changes were subtle at first: heightened senses, increased reflexes, bursts of strength, but soon grew more pronounced. Alex found himself able to sense the environment with uncanny clarity, detecting threats before they appeared. Another colonist, May, discovered she could manipulate small bursts of energy, a shimmering glow flickering at her fingertips. The colony's morale soared. The dormant potential within them was awakening, revealing a new kind of strength born from unity between human spirit and ancient technology. But this newfound power came with risks. The artifact's energy was unpredictable and sometimes overwhelming. A few volunteers suffered severe physical reactions, collapsing, convulsing, their minds lost in visions of a distant past filled with war and loss. Lena worked tirelessly to understand and control these effects. The artifact is testing us, she said. It's awakening memories encoded in our DNA, ancestral experiences meant to prepare the Lightborn for what's coming. Mira understood the gravity of their situation. The Veil were not merely invaders. They were the Shadowborn's heralds, the vanguard of an existential threat. And humanity was being forged into a weapon unlike any other. One night, Mira was summoned to the command center by Jax. The colony's sensors had detected unusual activity deep in the ancient tunnels beneath them. Scout teams report strange movements, Jax said, voice low. Something is awakening down there. Myra's heart pounded. Prepare a team. I want to see this for myself. Descending into the tunnels, the air grew thick with the scent of earth and ancient stone. The walls glowed faintly with bioluminescent veins, illuminating glyphs and symbols carved eons ago. As the team advanced, they found a vast chamber at the heart of the ruins. There, in the center, lay a colossal structure, an ancient device, dormant but humming with latent power. Lena approached it carefully. This is the core, she whispered, the source of the artifact's energy. If we can activate it, we might unlock the full potential of the Lightborn. Mira looked around at her team, the faces of humanity's last hope. Then we don't waste time. The chapter closed on a tense note as the team began the delicate process of activating the ancient device. Outside, the skies darkened with the approach of the Veil fleet, their shadows stretching like a threat over the horizon. Humanity's hidden legacy was stirring, and with it, a new dawn of power and peril. The cold, damp air of the ancient chamber clung to Captain Mira Ellis's skin as she stood before the colossal, dormant device deep beneath Elysium Prime's surface. The intricate carvings on the walls pulsed faintly, alive with a bioluminescent glow that painted the cavern in hues of blue and violet. It was a place unlike any other, a nexus of forgotten power, built by the vanished civilization whose legacy humanity was now inheriting. Beside her, Dr. Lena Ortiz worked swiftly, her fingers tracing the alien runes etched into the device's surface. The core hummed softly, a low vibration that seemed to resonate with her very heartbeat. Years of research and sleepless nights had led to this moment, the first real chance to unlock the artifact's full potential. Captain, Lena said, voice tight with anticipation, the core responds to neural input. It requires a mental link, a synchronization between the user's mind and the device. If successful, it could unlock latent abilities in the Lightborn, whatever they may be. Mira nodded, determination hardening her expression. Then we start now. Who's first? The team of volunteers was gathered nearby, faces lit with a mix of hope, fear, and resolve. Among them stood Alex Duran, the former soldier who had become an unlikely believer in the power rising within them all. His sharp eyes met Myra's, silently volunteering. "I'll go," Alex said. "If this is humanity's chance, I'm ready." Lena gestured for him to step forward. "Stay calm, focus on the device, and let it connect with your mind." Alex took a deep breath and placed his hand on the core. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, a surge of light shot through his body, cold and electric, awakening nerves he hadn't known existed. His vision blurred, then cleared, revealing layers of reality he'd never perceived before. Suddenly, Alex saw the tunnels as they truly were, not just stone and shadow, but streams of energy flowing beneath the surface, living circuits connecting every part of the planet. He felt the pulse of the artifact, a heartbeat synced with his own. The connection deepened. Images flooded his mind. Ancient battles, star systems consumed by the Shadowborn, civilizations rising and falling like waves on a cosmic tide. But amidst the chaos, a pattern emerged. The Lightborn, beings who had once wielded the planet's power to hold back the darkness. Alex gasped, staggering back from the device, his eyes wide with newfound clarity. I can feel it," he whispered. "The strength, the knowledge. It's like I'm connected to everything." Mira helped steady him. "Welcome to the awakening." Over the next several days, the process was repeated. Volunteers took turns interfacing with the core, each experiencing their own unique awakening. Some developed enhanced physical abilities, speed, strength, agility, while others gained more subtle powers, intuitive understanding of technology, rapid healing, or bursts of energy manipulation. But the most remarkable change was something less tangible, a shared connection. Those who had undergone the awakening could sense each other's presence, communicate silently through thoughts and emotions. It was as if the artifact had unlocked a latent neural network encoded in their DNA, a gift from the ancient civilization to its Lightborn protectors. Lena's team documented every change, working to stabilize the link between the artifact and the humans. The challenge, she explained to Mira, is integrating these abilities without overwhelming the mind or body. The process is risky, some may not survive the transition. True to her warning, a few volunteers suffered severe neurological feedback. Their minds became trapped in the visions, unable to return fully to reality. The colony's medical team worked around the clock to save them, using a combination of advanced technology and experimental treatments. Mira watched the unfolding transformation with a mix of hope and dread. Humanity's chance to survive rested on a knife's edge. Meanwhile, the Veil fleet continued its approach. Orbiting satellites detected their ships entering the system, a dark swarm blotting out the stars. The colony's defenses were ready, but barely. Jack stood beside Mira in the command center, tension etched into every line of his face. "They'll be here in less than 48 hours. Myra's voice was steady. "Then we fight with everything we've got." A meeting was called. The colonists, now partially transformed into Lightborn, gathered in the main hall, a diverse group of engineers, scientists, soldiers, and civilians united by the awakening. Mira addressed them, her words carrying the weight of their shared destiny. "We're facing an enemy unlike any we've ever known. The Veil are the harbingers of an extinction event. But thanks to this planet and the artifact, we've begun to reclaim our lost strength. We are no longer just survivors. We are Lightborn. We carry the legacy of those who fought before us." The crowd responded with a mix of cheers and determined silence. Mira continued, "Our fight will be brutal. But remember, our greatest power isn't just these new abilities. It's our will, our spirit, and our unity. Together, we will stand against the darkness." In the days that followed, the colony underwent a transformation. Barricades rose, energy shields hummed to life, and Lightborn warriors trained relentlessly, learning to harness their powers in combat scenarios. Alex became a symbol of hope, his enhanced reflexes and combat prowess inspiring others. Yet beneath his confidence, he wrestled with the responsibility of the power coursing through him. One evening, Mira found him alone on the ridge overlooking the colony. "You're carrying a heavy weight," she said softly. Alex looked out at the approaching fleet, the stars blinking like distant eyes. "It's more than I expected, but I won't let fear control me." "You don't have to do this alone," Mira said. "We're all connected now, stronger together." He nodded slowly. "Then let's show them what it means to awaken." As the Veil fleet darkened the skies over Elysium Prime, the first battle lines were drawn. Humanity's forgotten legacy was no longer buried beneath the surface. It had risen, blazing with the light of the awakened. And as the first shots rang out in the cold alien dawn, the Lightborn stood ready. The moment had arrived. For months, the colony on Elysium Prime had prepared, training volunteers, unlocking powers from the ancient artifact, and fortifying their fragile outpost. Now, as the first dark shapes of the Veil fleet appeared in the planet's upper atmosphere, all hope, fear, and determination converged in a single, defining moment. Captain Mira Ellis stood on the observation platform. The vast expanse of the alien sky stretched before her. The sun, pale and distant, cast long shadows across the land. Far above, a shadow fell. The massive vessels of the Veil, their sleek black hulls cutting through the clouds like blades of darkness. "Incoming fleet is deploying orbital dropships," reported Jax, his voice tense but steady. "They're preparing to land troops within the hour." Myra's heart beat in time with the cold pulse of the artifact buried beneath their feet. She turned to Lena Ortiz, who was monitoring the artifact's energy output in real time. "The device is stable," Lena said. "The Lightborn are ready." From the command center, the colony's defenders mobilized swiftly. Barricades sealed off the perimeter, energy shields flared to life, and the Lightborn warriors readied their enhanced abilities. Among them, Alex Duran adjusted the straps on his combat gear, his eyes sharp and focused. The newfound powers coursing through him were a double-edged sword, gifts that came with danger, unpredictability. He knew the upcoming battle would test him as never before. Outside, the alien dropships pierced the upper atmosphere, disgorging swarms of Veil soldiers. The invaders were like living shadows, sleek, agile, and eerily silent. Their exoskeleton armor shimmered with a dark iridescence, and their eyes glowed faintly with cold intelligence. As they descended onto the colony's outer defenses, the battle erupted. Energy blasts streaked through the air, illuminating the twilight in flashes of blue and crimson. The Veil moved with ruthless precision, overwhelming the initial barricades and forcing the defenders back step by step. But the Lightborn fought back fiercely. Alex was in the thick of it, moving faster than any normal human could. His enhanced senses detected every enemy movement before it happened. With a surge of strength, he tore through the alien ranks, deflecting plasma fire with energy shields that shimmered around his arms. Nearby, one of the colony's scientists turned Lightborn, manipulated bursts of raw energy, sending waves of force that sent Veil soldiers flying. Her control was still raw, but her determination burned bright. The colony's defenders adapted quickly, their bond through the artifact allowing them to coordinate flawlessly, a single entity moving against the alien threat. In the chaos, Captain Mira took charge of the command center, directing reinforcements and coordinating strategies. She communicated constantly with the teams in the field, her voice a steady anchor amidst the storm. "Hold the western sector," she commanded. "Alex, take your squad to the eastern ridge, cut off their flank." The Veil were relentless, though. Wave after wave of soldiers poured out of the dropships. Their technology was advanced, their tactics ruthless. The defenders were pushed to the limit. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath them. "Report." Mira snapped. "It's an enemy walker," Jack said grimly. "Massive biomechanical constructs, armed with heavy plasma cannons. They're advancing toward the colony core." Myra's mind raced. These were no ordinary soldiers. The Veil had brought their heaviest weapons. "Prepare the artifact's defense protocols," she ordered. "Lightborn team, intercept those walkers." Alex and his squad sprinted toward the massive machines, their powers flaring. The walkers unleashed volleys of plasma, shaking the ground with every blast. The battle was brutal. Alex used his speed to dart between the legs of the walkers, planting explosive charges while his teammates blasted energy beams at the exposed joints. Despite their efforts, the walkers pressed forward, unstoppable forces of destruction. Meanwhile, deep within the colony, Dr. Lena Ortiz worked feverishly. The artifact's energy levels fluctuated wildly as the battle raged above. "It's reacting to the conflict," Lena told Mira over comms. "The artifact is amplifying the Lightborn's powers, but it's draining rapidly. If we don't stabilize it, we could lose everything." Mira clenched her fists. "Do what you have to. We need that power." As the artifact's glow intensified, a sudden surge of energy erupted through the colony. The Lightborn felt a renewed wave of strength, their powers amplified beyond anything before. With newfound vigor, Alex led a counterattack that shattered the Veil's advance on the eastern ridge. The walkers faltered, their systems overloaded by the combined might of the Lightborn and the artifact's power. The tide of battle shifted, but victory came at a cost. Several Lightborn volunteers lay wounded, their bodies drained from the intense energy bursts. The medical teams rushed to stabilize them, while others prepared for the inevitable next assault. Mira surveyed the battlefield from the observation platform. The Veil fleet still loomed overhead, larger ships descending slowly toward the colony. The war was far from over. "We've bought time," she said quietly to Jax, "but the Veil will regroup. They'll come back stronger." Jax nodded. "We have to be ready. This planet, and humanity's future, depends on it." In the moments of calm before the next wave, Mira felt the weight of her responsibility pressing down on her. The ancient legacy buried beneath their feet was awakening within them, but could it truly be enough to save humanity? As night fell over Elysium Prime, the colony prepared for a long, uncertain fight. The Veil had descended, and the battle for the planet's fate had begun in earnest. Amidst the stars, a silent question hung in the air. Would the Lightborn rise to meet the darkness, or would the Shadowborn claim their final victory? The battle for Elysium Prime was far from over, but beneath the surface of victory, fractures began to form, fractures that threatened to unravel everything humanity had fought for. The colony's once unified front was cracking. The awakening of the Lightborn powers had not only given rise to new strength, but had also exposed deep fault lines between the colonists. Tensions that had been simmering under the surface now boiled over. Captain Mira Ellis sat alone in the dimly lit command center, reviewing the latest reports. Casualties were mounting, resources running low, and the Veil showed no sign of relenting. Yet, her greatest concern was no longer the alien enemy. It was the unrest among her own people. The artifact's awakening had been a blessing and a curse. Some colonists embraced their new powers with zeal, seeing themselves as the next step in human evolution, the true heirs of the Lightborn legacy. They believed that with their newfound abilities, they were destined to lead, to reshape humanity's future. Others viewed the change with fear and suspicion. Among the dissenters was Dr. Ethan Crane, a brilliant scientist who had once been a close ally to Mira and Lena Ortiz. Ethan had always been cautious, skeptical of the artifact's power, and wary of the Lightborn's rapid transformation. At a tense council meeting, Ethan voiced his concerns. "This power, it's not natural. We're tampering with forces beyond our understanding," he said, his voice sharp. "We risk losing ourselves, becoming what we once fought against." A murmur of agreement rippled through some members of the council, but others bristled at the warning. Lena Ortiz, standing firm, countered, "We have no choice. The Veil are here to exterminate us. If we don't evolve, we die. The artifact is our only hope." Ethan's eyes darkened. "At what cost? How long before this hope turns us into monsters?" The argument revealed a deeper truth. Not everyone wanted to embrace the future as Lightborn. Factions quickly emerged within the colony. Those who wanted to fully integrate with the artifact's power, and those who wished to maintain their humanity as it was. Mira understood the risks. Unity was fragile, and division could be fatal. She sought to bridge the gap, calling for a mission to prove that humanity and the Lightborn power could coexist. We need a demonstration, Mira said quietly to Lena and Jax. Something to remind everyone what we're fighting for and what we can become. Meanwhile, whispers of dissent reached the ears of the Veil commanders. They saw the internal discord as a weakness to exploit. In the shadow of the ruins where the artifact had been found, a Veil operative met with a disillusioned colonist, a scientist who had grown skeptical of the leadership's decisions. "You doubt your own people," the Veil whispered in the alien tongue, voice cold and precise. The colonist nodded, eyes filled with doubt and fear. "Help us sow discord. Turn your people against each other. Their fall will be swift." Back at the colony, the effects of internal strife became painfully clear. Supply lines were disrupted by sabotage. Communications faltered. Security protocols were ignored or circumvented by factions who refused to cooperate. During a patrol, Alex Duran and his team were ambushed, not by the Veil, but by rogue colonists who saw the Lightborn as threats to humanity's future. The skirmish was brief but brutal. Alex stood over the wounded, heart pounding with disbelief. "We're supposed to be united," he said, voice heavy. "How did it come to this?" Mira convened a crisis meeting. "We are fighting not only an external enemy, but our own fears and doubts," she said, her tone grave. "If we do not find common ground, we will fall." She proposed a bold plan, a joint mission into the artifact's deepest chamber to unlock new power, a symbol of unity and strength. Volunteers from both factions were hesitant but agreed, desperate for hope. As the team ventured into the heart of the ancient ruins, tensions ran high. Ethan and Lena argued over every decision. Alex struggled to keep the peace, knowing that any spark could ignite the fragile alliance into open conflict. Deep inside the chamber, the artifact awaited, humming with latent energy. Lena stepped forward, extending her hand to the core. "This is our chance," she said, "to transcend fear and division." Ethan hesitated but then joined her, their hands touching the artifact together. A surge of energy exploded through the chamber, enveloping the team in a radiant glow. Visions filled their minds, of past Lightborn who had faced extinction and emerged stronger through unity. When the light faded, the team stood transformed. The barriers between factions dissolved, replaced by a shared understanding and a renewed sense of purpose. Returning to the colony, the united front inspired others. Though scars of mistrust remained, the message was clear. Humanity's survival depended on embracing both their humanity and the Lightborn legacy. Mira addressed the colony, her voice carrying strength and hope. "We are more than what divides us," she said. "We are the future, shaped by every choice we make, every fear we overcome." But even as unity returned, Mira knew the true test was yet to come. The Veil were regrouping, their next assault imminent. The battle for Elysium Prime was far from over, and humanity's fate hung in the balance, not just against the alien enemy, but within themselves. The dawn on Elysium Prime was heavy with silence. After the recent skirmishes and fractured alliances that had threatened the colony's unity, a fragile calm had settled over the battered settlement. But beneath the surface of this tentative peace, something far more profound was awakening. Captain Mira Ellis stood atop a ridge overlooking the horizon, watching the twin suns rise slowly over the alien landscape. The planet's colors shifted from the cold blues of night to the warm golds of morning. Yet, it was not the beauty of this new world that held Myra's attention. It was the artifact's pulse, a steady heartbeat she felt resonating deep within the planet's core. Inside the colony's research hub, Dr. Lena Ortiz and her team worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets hidden within the artifact. After the recent joint mission that had briefly united the colonists, Lena had become more convinced than ever that this ancient device was a key not just to power, but to understanding humanity's place in the cosmos. "We're picking up something," Lena said as she analyzed the streams of data pouring from the artifact. "The energy signatures, they're not random. They form patterns, like a language or a message." Mira entered the room, her expression grim but curious. "A message?" Lena nodded. "Yes. From what we can tell, the artifact is a relic left behind by the Lightborn, an ancient precursor civilization that once spanned the stars. But more than that, it seems to contain echoes of Earth itself. The room fell silent. Echoes of Earth? Alex Duran, who had joined the conversation, frowned. What do you mean? How can this alien device have anything to do with our home planet? Lena tapped rapidly on her console. The artifact's databanks include genetic sequences, cultural records, even fragments of Earth's history, preserved like a time capsule. It suggests that the Lightborn were closely linked to humanity's origins. Myra's mind raced. The implications were staggering. If the Lightborn had touched Earth in some way, their legacy wasn't just alien technology, it was part of humanity's own story. Could this explain why only some of us have these powers? Lena continued. Perhaps the Lightborn infused their DNA into early humans, a dormant code waiting to be unlocked. The room buzzed with whispered speculation. As the day progressed, the team delved deeper into the artifact's archives. The data revealed a history of cosmic conflict. Ancient wars fought to preserve the Lightborn's knowledge from extinction, wars that had devastated countless worlds, including Earth. Lena's eyes grew wide as she scrolled through star charts and ancient battle records. This war, it wasn't just the Veil. There were other factions. The Lightborn were guardians of a fragile peace across galaxies. Mira felt a chill. The Veil invasion was part of a much larger cosmic struggle, and humanity was now caught in its center. Why Earth? Alex asked quietly. Why did the Lightborn choose to hide this power here? Lena's voice was somber. Because Earth was a cradle, a seed world where the Lightborn hoped to preserve their legacy, to ensure their survival even if their civilization fell. The revelation sparked hope, but also fear. If humanity was linked to an ancient galactic war, could they survive the coming storm? And if the Lightborn's powers were part of their DNA, what did that mean for the future of the human race? Mira sought counsel with the colony's elders and scientists. Together, they debated their next move. Should we activate the artifact fully? One elder asked. Or risk losing ourselves in a power we don't understand? Myra's answer was firm. We have to embrace our legacy. To defeat the Veil, we must become more than human, but not lose what makes us human. That night, as the twin moons rose, Mira walked through the colony, observing her people, Lightborn and non-Lightborn alike, struggling with the weight of their newfound destiny. In the medical bay, Alex visited injured comrades. One of them, a young woman named Sarah, looked up at him. Do you think this power will save us? She whispered. Alex smiled gently. It has to. We're the last hope. But deep down, he wondered if hope alone would be enough. In the quiet moments before sleep, Mira returned to the command center to review Lena's latest data. Suddenly, the artifact pulsed with an intense light, brighter than ever before. A holographic projection emerged, shimmering in the air. It was a figure, humanoid, radiant, but otherworldly, the last known Lightborn. The figure spoke in a voice that echoed through the chamber, ancient yet clear. To those who awaken, remember, the Lightborn's gift is a burden and a blessing. Our fate is intertwined with yours. The Veil's shadow seeks to consume all light, but within you burns the spark of creation itself. Stand united. Protect your world. Become the beacon in the darkness. The message ended, leaving a silence filled with awe and determination. Mira stood alone, feeling the weight of the Lightborn's legacy settle upon her shoulders. The war was far from over, but humanity's true fight, to embrace their destiny and rise above extinction, was just beginning. The air was thick with anticipation across Elysium Prime. The colony had been preparing for this moment since the Veil's relentless advance had become undeniable. Every soldier, every Lightborn, every civilian knew the truth. This would be the final battle, the last stand for humanity's future. Captain Mira Ellis stood at the command center's central holotable, reviewing the battle plans one last time. The holographic map displayed the colony's layout, surrounding terrain, and the Veil's known positions. Red dots, Veil warships, and ground forces crept steadily closer. Beside her, Lena Ortiz adjusted her gauntlets, her Lightborn powers humming faintly beneath her skin. The artifact's energies now coursed stronger than ever through the colony's defenders. But even with this newfound power, They faced an enemy that had conquered worlds with impunity. Mira took a deep breath and addressed the assembled leaders and soldiers. Today, we fight not just for survival, but for the right to decide who we are. We are the heirs of Earth, the legacy of the Lightborn, and the future of humanity. We stand united. We stand unbroken. The room erupted in cheers, but Mira knew their resolve would be tested beyond any measure. Outside, the sky darkened as the Veil fleet entered Elysium Prime's atmosphere. Their ships blotted out the sun, casting ominous shadows across the landscape. The alien war machines thundered forward, a terrifying symphony of destruction. Alex Duran led the ground forces, coordinating with the Lightborn units to create defensive perimeters around key strategic points. His team moved with precision, setting traps and fortifying barricades, every action a desperate bid to slow the enemy's advance. Suddenly, the Veil unleashed their first wave of assault drones, sleek, deadly machines that swarmed over the defenses like locusts. The Lightborn warriors met them head-on, their powers igniting the battlefield with brilliant flashes of energy. Mira and Lena spearheaded a strike team tasked with disabling the Veil's command ship hovering above the colony's core. If they could take out the enemy's leadership, it might turn the tide. As their squad infiltrated the command ship, alarms blared and corridors echoed with the mechanical sounds of the Veil soldiers. Lena's Lightborn abilities let her sense the enemy's movements before they appeared, allowing the team to avoid ambushes and move swiftly through the labyrinthine vessel. Deep inside, they discovered the Veil commander, a towering figure clad in armor that shimmered with dark energy. "You humans are resilient." The commander's voice echoed coldly, but futile. Myra's grip tightened on her plasma rifle. "We'll see about that." A fierce battle erupted in the command ship's core. Lena channeled the artifact's energy, forming a glowing shield around the team, while Myra's precision shots kept the commander at bay. But the Veil commander was powerful, matching their strength blow for blow. As the fight raged, the command ship began to destabilize, its systems overloaded by the conflict. Realizing the imminent danger, Mira ordered a tactical retreat. They barely escaped as the command ship exploded in a fiery blast that rocked the sky. The loss of their command ship threw the Veil forces into chaos. Communications faltered, and disarray spread through their ranks. Back on the battlefield, the colony's defenders seized the moment. Lightborn warriors led coordinated strikes against the weakened Veil ground forces, pushing them back inch by inch. The air was thick with the sounds of war, explosions, energy blasts, and the cries of combatants. Alex moved through the chaos, rallying troops and rescuing wounded comrades. His heart pounded with adrenaline, but also a growing hope. This is it, he thought. We're turning the tide. But the battle was far from over. In the distance, a massive Veil war machine, the Juggernaut, emerged, towering over the battlefield. Its armor gleamed with a dark sheen, and its weapons began to charge ominously. The Juggernaut's arrival silenced the defenders. It was a nightmare made real, a force of destruction capable of leveling entire cities. Myra's voice cut through the panic. "We take that beast down, or we lose everything." Lena nodded, her powers flaring. Together, the final assault on the Juggernaut was brutal and desperate. Lena used her Lightborn energy to disrupt the machine's shield, while Alex led a squadron of soldiers equipped with experimental plasma charges to breach its armor. Mira coordinated from above, providing overwatch and directing reinforcements where needed. The battle stretched on for hours, each moment a test of endurance and will. In a decisive moment, Lena unleashed a concentrated blast of energy, piercing the Juggernaut's core. The machine shuddered violently, its systems failing. Alex's team detonated the plasma charges, and with a deafening explosion, the Juggernaut toppled, crashing to the ground in a shower of sparks and fire. As the Juggernaut fell, Veil forces began to retreat, their invasion collapsing under the weight of their losses. Cheers erupted across the colony. Humanity had won a hard-fought victory, but Mira knew the war was not yet over. The Veil might regroup, new threats might arise, and the artifact's power was still a mystery. She looked to Lena and Alex. "We've survived today. Tomorrow, we build the future we fight for." Under the twin suns of Elysium Prime, humanity stood tall, scarred but unbroken, forever changed by the light-born legacy and ready to face whatever came next. The battlefield was silent. The Veil invasion had been repelled, their forces shattered and retreating into the void of space. The fires that had scarred Elysium Prime's surface smoldered, casting long shadows beneath the twin suns as dawn stretched across the horizon. Captain Mira Ellis stood amidst the ruins of the colony's command center, her uniform dirted but her posture unwavering. The weight of leadership pressed on her shoulders like never before, but the fierce light in her eyes was unmistakable, a beacon of hope. Around her, survivors moved with a new purpose. The horrors they had endured had forged them into something stronger, more unified. Humanity, bolstered by the light-born legacy, was no longer just a flicker in the galaxy. It was a rising flame. Inside the rebuilt research hub, Dr. Lena Ortiz examined the artifact one last time before its power would be sealed to prevent misuse. The device now hummed softly, its immense energy tempered but still potent, a testament to the bond it had formed with humanity. "We've barely scratched the surface," Lena said quietly to Mira, "but the artifact has changed us. It's more than technology. It's a bridge to the stars and to our own potential." Mira nodded. "And a responsibility. We're no longer just survivors. We're guardians." Across the colony, Alex Duran coordinated efforts to heal and rebuild. The soldiers who had fought alongside him now helped clear debris, restore power grids, and tend to the wounded. Walking through the recovering settlement, Alex caught sight of children playing near a fountain that reflected the light of the twin suns. Their laughter was a sharp contrast to the war cries that had filled the air only days before. These kids, Alex thought, they're the reason we fight, to give them a future free from fear. He paused beside a memorial erected in honor of the fallen, a reminder of sacrifice and resilience. But even as the colony breathed a collective sigh of relief, Myra's mind lingered on a larger truth. The Veil was only one piece of a much bigger cosmic puzzle. The ancient war between the Lightborn and their enemies had spanned millennia and galaxies. Earth was a seed world, yes, but what lay beyond was still unknown. As commander, Mira knew their role was far from over. That evening, under the twin moons, Mira called a gathering of the colony's leaders and Lightborn. "Today, we celebrate victory," she began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "Tomorrow, we prepare to protect our legacy and expand it." She turned to Lena. "The artifact has shown us who we are and who we might become." Lena added, "We are the inheritors of a promise, not just to survive, but to thrive, to grow stronger in the face of adversity." Alex stepped forward. "And we will stand ready, not just for the Veil, but for any who threaten our home." The colony's council voted to establish a new order, a fusion of Lightborn knowledge and human determination, to guard Elysium Prime and explore the galaxy beyond. Training programs began to harness the powers awakened within many colonists, blending ancient Lightborn abilities with cutting-edge technology. New alliances were forged, including emissaries sent to neighboring star systems to warn them of the Veil threat and offer aid. Mira took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought them here, from refugees fleeing Earth's destruction, to warriors battling an interstellar empire, to pioneers building a new home. She thought of the sacrifices made by friends like Alex, who had risked everything in the final battle, and Lena, whose intellect and courage had unlocked the path forward. But most of all, she thought of humanity itself, a species once vulnerable and divided, now unified and unstoppable. As the first rays of dawn bathed Elysium Prime in golden light, Mira stood on the ridge where the story had begun. The planet stretched out beneath her, a symbol of hope, resilience, and new beginnings. The artifact rested safely within the colony's vault, its mysteries preserved but ready to guide them when needed. And in the sky above, distant stars twinkled like ancient promises. Mira whispered, "This is our legacy. The light we carry will never be extinguished." The dawn of a new era had arrived. Humanity was no longer a forgotten footnote in the cosmic history books. It was a force to be reckoned with, a testament to endurance, ingenuity, and heart. In the vast universe, among countless stars and civilizations, Earth's children stood tall, and they would never back down.